Joining us now is Emily Jashinsky, host of After Party with Emily Jashinsky on MK Media. Emily, thank you so much for joining us today on this incredibly sad day. I mean, we are all heartbroken and all mourning the death of Charlie Kirk. I want to get your thoughts on how you're feeling, and millions of Americans must be feeling at the moment, and just the significance of his death.
There's so much to say. I mean, it's enormously surreal. And I think actually really even for people outside of the United States, because Kirk had become almost a fixture of popular culture. He was recently parodied on South Park. It takes a certain level of fame, let alone of political fame as a commentator, to be parodied on a massive juggernaut pop culturally like South Park. And I think the reason that so many people knew Charlie Kirk is that he took this medium of social media. Charlie and I are, almost the same age, almost exactly the same age, came up in the conservative movement together. And he took this medium of social media and understood what people wanted to see, which was debate. And he brought it to them, and he brought it with this sense of moral clarity that especially a lot of younger Americans, but I think a lot of people just around the world are looking for right now, whether they disagreed with him or agreed with him. You knew that he believed what he was saying. And, that was just like rocket fuel for him. And because he was so ever present in these new media channels, or on these new media channels, people felt like they knew him. And then to see him, tragically, but almost poetically, slayed on that format. We now see it on our phones, that horrific video. If people are lucky to have not seen the video of him actually getting shot, that they shouldn't go look it up. It's so graphic, but many people saw that.
Emily, you're exactly right. I mean, I'm here in Sydney, Australia, and my phone has not stopped going off with so many people here in Australia, right around the world, really feeling the impact of his loss. I mean, Charlie Kirk just touched the lives of so many people. We're going to play his reaction to him being featured on South Park that you mentioned in a moment, but also let's play Megyn Kelly's reaction. She was speaking about this on air.
They're reporting that Charlie has died. That he's dead at the age of 31. Which he would have to be if that video was real.
There's no way he survived that. The only good thing is, it had to have happened quickly.
Right.
Emily, it's just so heartbreaking. I mean, this is so raw right now, and for so many people, I think so many people are feeling overwhelmed with emotion. I mean, I just don't think we can really overstate what an influential figure Charlie Kirk was.
That's right. Especially, I think people in Gen Z aren't fully represented in the media yet. Because they're still young, and there are more people who are outside of that generation in media. But for Gen Z, he was, basically a household name. You could talk to somebody on the left, you could talk to somebody on the center. The odds are they knew who Charlie Kirk was, and that's remarkable for somebody who just 10 years ago was basically an anonymous Chicago guy trying to start up a new group and get funding and all of that to promote conservative ideas on college campuses. So his trajectory, he accomplished so much just in his 31 years. But I just think there was this sense, because he was a pioneer of the social media format, because he was a pioneer of the debate format in the social media sort of space, people just have this kind of intimate knowledge of him, or they feel like they do. They feel like they grew up with him. They feel like they know so much about him. And that, I think maybe that's why we're seeing such a, I would say, unified response of horror. Barack Obama, Joe Biden, these people have put out statements. Democrats, prominent Democrats, mourning the loss of Charlie Kirk.
Well, of course, and as they should. He was such an important figure, and unfortunately, we are seeing outlets like MSNBC trash Charlie Kirk. They've apologised for that. Let's honour him, remember him. You mentioned just how well known he is for his debating skills, and he would go out to these college campuses, draw in enormous crowds, and he could debate like no other. Let's look at this.
Actually, I'm not scared.
Then debate me anytime.
Honestly, I'm good. I just debated the governor of this state. I don't need to debate you, Parker, okay?
You keep interrupting me. Every time I try to actually explain my point and have a reasonable conversation with you, you cut me off.
You're an English major.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you another chance.
Okay.
What's your favorite Jane Austen novel?
Harry Potter?
My shirt, everybody, my shirt says Charlie Kirk.
Oh,
Clearly you're
campus.
offended.
Actually, I'm not. I find it hilarious. In fact, I'm so important that you have to make a shirt with my name on it. It's FBI statistics. It's well known.
FBI statistics? Where can you show me that at? 70% of offenders were African American.
I know you're obviously very anti-trans.
No, I'm pro-reality.
No one like him. I mean, he was so clever, he was so witty, he could bring so much humour, so much emotion, the way he could bring in crowds, and it would go off online. As you say, he was kind of a pioneer of the social media movement and to get Gen Zs really involved and really engaged in politics. And then he'd also talk about issues that went well beyond politics, his love of God, his love of family. I love watching those moments. He was absolutely brilliant. What can I get your reaction?
His people who followed him over the years saw his faith deepen and grow in real time. And again, that just gets to, this is somebody who was on social media every day, whether it was on podcasting, YouTube formats, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all of those places he was ever present on. And people over the years saw his faith deepen and grow. They saw him get married. They saw him become a father, and they saw him talk about it and integrate it into his worldview literally every single day. His politics were inextricably intertwined with his personal life and his faith. And that's what I think is hitting so many people hard. I mean, even the leftist streamer, Hassan Piker on Twitch, who was supposed to debate Charlie Kirk in just a few weeks at Dartmouth College, when he heard the news, he was streaming live and it hit him like a ton of bricks. You could see it hit him like a ton of bricks because basically everybody felt like they had some insight into who Charlie was.
Absolutely, and it was amazing. He's someone that didn't go to university, yet he'd go to Oxford and he would debate everyone at these elite universities and he would do it brilliantly. But to your point about how he was so open about his love of God and his love of family, I mean, just the other day he was posting on his social media that it's important in that order: love of God, love of family, love of country. And I mean, we saw that day in and day out. He never stopped fighting, and he just made such a huge impact in America and his vision for America, trying to make it a better place. But I'm, as we all are, so heartbroken for his family, his wife Erica, and their 2 children. His wife Erica posted recently a bit of an insight into their relationship. She put up this photo on social media and she wrote, 5 years ago today, we sat inside Bill's Burgers in New York City, deep in conversation and banter over theology, philosophy and politics. And at the end, you paused, looked at me and said, I'm going to date you. And I mean, that's Charlie Kirk's personality shining through. I think anyone that pays attention or knows Charlie Kirk can just hear those words. That's exactly how he talks.
That's funny. Yeah, and I mean, now part of the horror is that his wife and children are left without such a towering figure, such a larger than life person.
Yeah.
And they have a dad and a Charlie-shaped hole in their lives. So just unimaginable pain and suffering in the days to come for them. And I'm sure we'll see some of it play out publicly, but I know many people, and of course myself included, are praying.
Absolutely. Have to keep praying for that family. Donald Trump has spoken, or he's released a statement, I should say. He wrote, "The great and even legendary Charlie Kirk is dead. No one understood or had the heart of the youth in the United States of America better than Charlie. He was loved and admired by all, especially me. And now he is no longer with us. Melania, and my sympathies go out to his beautiful wife, Erica, and family. Charlie, we love you." Emily, can you talk to us about, I suppose, the political impact this is going to have? He was such a powerful figure.
Yeah, and I mean, because so many people knew Charlie, we're talking as we should be about his personal impact, but his political impact on the Trump family is enormous. And actually on this entire administration is and was, of course, enormous. He was part of the inner circle that convinced Donald Trump to choose J.D. Vance as his vice president over other candidates. He is very close to the vice president. He was very close to Donald Trump Jr. He knew the president extraordinarily well. And the president did, as you saw in that statement, credit Charlie with a lot of the movement. Charlie's traveling for years in support of Donald Trump at this point, and Trump obviously ended up doing extremely well with young voters in 2024. And so obviously the apparatus that Charlie built to help Donald Trump is greatly appreciated by Trump world. But with that came this deep respect and reliance on Charlie for guidance and insight into the young conservative movement. So he will be irreplaceable for this White House and for the First Family.
Absolutely. RFK Jr. has released a statement as well. He wrote, "Once again, a bullet has silenced the most eloquent truth teller of an era. My dear friend Charlie Kirk was our country's relentless and courageous crusader for free speech. We pray for Erica and the children. Charlie is already in paradise with the angels. We ask his prayers for our country." Emily, we've also heard, so much reaction, but let's play. I think we have the reaction of Ben Shapiro and Michael Knowles.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, there's legit nothing to say. I mean, it's rare that there's nothing to say, but there's truly nothing to say. I mean, unthinkable, absolutely unthinkable. I mean, I've known Charlie Kirk since Charlie was 18 years old. I met Charlie when I was a significantly younger man. I was 13 years ago. So I was in my late 20s, and I was working at the David Horowitz Freedom Center. I met Charlie Kirk when he was a fresh-faced, bushy-tailed youngster who was starting Turning Point USA legitimately right out of high school. And he'd already found a couple of seed founders, but he was kind of walking around the David Horowitz Freedom Center event looking for donors. And I started introducing him around to donors. And I remember turning to Jeremy Boring, our co-founder here at Daily Wire, and turning to him at the time, because we both worked there, and saying, that kid is going to be the head of the RNC.
We're all processing this awful news. The first thing that comes to my mind, beyond the sadness for his family, for his wife, his young kids, his millions and millions of admirers, and his many, many friends, is that Charlie Kirk would have been president. Charlie Kirk would have been president. His friends knew it. His many, many admirers knew it. And his enemies, to whom he was always so gracious, they knew it too.
Emily, I don't think he's overstating that there. He absolutely could have.
He knew how to win people over. I mean, that's basically the predicate of his entire career, especially the last 5+ years, when he mastered the art of public debate in social media world. So he was a very, very powerful, influential voice. And I think that's another important part of this is the effect he has had on Generation Z, which is coming into its own in the workforce right now. In some ways, he mirrored those trends, the return to church, the return to traditional institutions that we've seen, like marriage and home ownership and having children, that we've seen some people younger than Charlie and I, Gen Z, return to. That, in some ways, he was mirroring that, but in other ways, he was causing it. He was nudging it along because he experienced it himself first. He experienced, getting into his late 20s, unmarried and without children, and he wanted it, and he made it happen. And that's where a lot of young people find themselves. So again, there's just this deep, deep emotional tether between him and young Americans that explain why he was so powerful. And certainly Michael is not wrong about where his career could have been going.
No, absolutely right. Now, Charlie's also spoken about assassination culture that was spreading on the far left. He's tweeted in the past that assassination culture is spreading on the left. 48% of liberals say it would be at least somewhat justify to murder Elon Musk. 55% said the same about Donald Trump. Emily, an incident like this, it brings me back to the assassination attempts of Donald Trump, especially that one in Butler, Pennsylvania. And I think there's just so much anger that something like this could happen. You know, they have someone like Charlie already has security. Ben Shapiro has so much security. So does Donald Trump. And these assassination attempts get carried out. And today the news is that Charlie Kirk was killed, but he was really onto something here that we have seen in the pockets of the extreme far left, this kind of bizarre justification to carry out assassinations, you know, death threats for someone like Elon Musk. We saw people on the far left crying that Donald Trump wasn't assassinated in Butler, Pennsylvania in July last year. We've seen so much left-wing violence, Teslas being burnt. I mean, what are your thoughts about all of this?
You know, I worry that it's even deeper, because I think the reason Charlie was so popular is exactly what we see in that post. Is he pushed back against moral relativism. And moral relativism, this idea that maybe you could kill Elon Musk to save X number of people, which is what goes through the calculus of these sick, demented people who answer a poll like that and say, yeah, well, maybe it's somewhat justified, quote, somewhat justified, to borrow the language from the poll. What you're really getting at there is moral relativism, is saying certain lives are more or less valuable than others. And Kirk never gave quarter to that idea. He was always a staunch defender of the dignity of human life. And I think that's part of the reason he was so popular, is because people today just feel overwhelmed and burdened by the sinking sense of moral relativism. And that's where we go. I mean, I think it happens to people on the left. I think the left, because of its attacks on institutions, whether they're the church, whether they're, you know, anything basically that undergirds the fabric of society, the attacks on those institutions themselves, not just bad decisions they've made, but the institutions themselves, the existence of the institutions, that comes from a place often of moral relativism. But I mean, I think Charlie has probably spoken about this before, had probably spoken about this before. That can infect people on the right too. I mean, it's just so easy now to get sucked into nihilism and to say, you know, it's all about, you know, we've seen this over the course of the last 100 years of history in the West. It's a very, very dangerous time as we come kind of unmoored from the civilizational foundations of God, of family, community, that used to hold us together.
Yeah, well said. And look, before I let you go, we still don't know anything about the suspect, but there would be pockets, the far left extremists, that would want to see Charlie Kirk killed, of course, because he was so effective. I mean, you look at the impact he was able to make. He could crack open the hearts and minds of so many young people and create such a big impact. Yeah,
I mean, the fact that they have not caught this assassin right now after hours, and thousands of people were at this event with their cell phones up filming the moments. This was on a college campus that certainly has CCTV all over the place. The fact that they don't have anyone here suggests that there was a highly strategic, almost professional operation. You know, whether we know it was one person or more, it suggests that there was a very clear and strategic intent behind this. And my goodness, we can only pray that this changes things.
Emily Jashinsky, host of After Party on MK Media with Emily Jashinsky, of course. Thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. God bless.